I regret to inform you all that I'm not Shaggy for a bit. If you guys did not see or hear, I cut my hair. Obviously, you can see. I cut my hair. I don't have hair to flip around anymore. I cut my hair. It was time to just start my hair fresh. I obviously will grow it back out to the point where I look like Shaggy again, but for the time being, I am no longer Shaggy. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this video. So this is going to be kind of a different video, but I thought it'd be interesting. So first off, I have my pup here. I don't know if you can see him. He's just chilling on my lap. So last night, I was, up late, just doing nothing, watching Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And I got to the episode, Decoy for a Dog Napper. And at the end of the episode, they were talking to the sheriff about what had gone down and what they figured out and whatever.
That was quite a plot you kids uncovered. Who would have suspected Masters of dog-napping his own pet?
And as I'm watching it, as I see the sheriff, I'm like, sir, we've seen you before. Okay, so I got thinking, I'm like, in the most recent films that we've had this year, Scooby-Doo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost, along with Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island, there was a sheriff that was in both films. It is the same sheriff because these films follow one another. And it got me thinking, I was like, you're him. You're that sheriff that So, I dug through. And here is why I think the sheriff, who has no name, just sheriff, from Curse of the 13th Ghost and Return to Zombie Island is the same sheriff we see in Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Okay, so I went through every episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, along with Season 3, which was retitled The Scooby-Doo Show, and I found every episode that included that same sheriff. Because sometimes there is just a cop or a few cops rather than the sheriff. And so I broke it down, found the episodes, and we're going to see what you guys think on this. So, in actually the very first episode, What a Night for a Night, we can clearly see, they're talking to the sheriff. But the sheriff is in this episode. He is taking Mr. Wickles, and that's the first appearance of the sheriff that we see. He is named Sheriff. Again, he is never named anything but Sheriff in any of the episodes or movies at all. Then following that, we have a clue for Scooby-Doo. We don't actually see him, but he is mentioned in a newspaper article about the gang capturing Captain Cutler. Fred is reading the article to the gang at the malt shop, and we see, and Fred clearly says, that the sheriff basically, came and got Mr. Cutler from the gang. And then again, in Decoy for a Dog Napper, after they've caught the villain, caught the criminal, they go to presumably the sheriff's office and are talking to the sheriff in his office about what had gone down. Next, we have What the Heck's Going On, and in this episode we don't actually see the sheriff, but he is actually mentioned.
Uncle Stewart, why did you do it?
Well, I guess he can explain it to the sheriff when he gets here.
Saying that they're going to call up the sheriff, get the sheriff here. Who knows if it is actually the same sheriff? But again, he's kind of mentioned. Okay, so next in the backstage rage, the sheriff actually doesn't appear in this episode. It's actually a cop that comes and gets the criminal, which was kind of interesting. It kind of changed some things up, which also was kind of interesting that the sheriff would come almost every time. So this actually gave a sense of, okay, sheriff is busy doing something else, so now we have a cop coming, dealing with this one. Next, in Nowhere to Hide, we actually see the sheriff again. He comes to get you know, the criminal who was impersonating Mr. Hyde. So we see him another time here. Okay, so next in Jeepers is the Creeper episode. There is a sheriff, but he's kind of dressed differently, and I don't know if it is the same sheriff or if it's a different sheriff. There can be multiple sheriffs, you know, within a certain distance, you know, and it kind of depends on what part of town they are in. So I don't know if this is the same sheriff, if he's just dressed differently, or if it's, you know, a different sheriff. And then we see him one more time in Scooby's Night with a Frozen Fright with the caveman. We see him, you know, coming to get the criminal once again. And then after that, we don't see him in any of the other episodes. We don't see him in any of the other series until Curse of the 13th Ghost, when they, you know, capture the wrong criminal, and he basically tells them, you know, maybe you should leave this to the professionals and retire. And then he comes back in Return to Zombie Island, the follow-up film, and he's basically saying, hey, you know, you guys just need to be kids. Just go have fun. You know, don't stress out about these mysteries. You know, leave it to us and whatever. But then again, at the end of the film of Return to Zombie Island, he is persuaded by Daphne and Velma, you know, because they do the whole crying act and whatever. And basically is persuaded, and he's all, whatever, just stay out of trouble. You can solve your mysteries. And now I wonder, are we going to see him again? Are we not? You know, for quite a few years again? Again, we don't get a name for him. He is just simply Sheriff. He is credited as Sheriff in both films. In all the episodes, he is just Sheriff. So it's interesting. And something else to kind of notice. So in the Where Are You episodes, he has black hair. And then in the two movies, Curse of the 13th Ghost and Return to Zombie Island, he has kind of more gray hair. So we can kind of presume that time has obviously kind of passed since these episodes to these movies. So he's gotten older, you know, but he's still being a sheriff. So I just think it's really interesting that there's this little bit of continuity. I mean, maybe I'm looking way too into this, but for me personally, I love continuity. I definitely am intrigued by the Scooby-Doo timeline. If you guys don't know, my girlfriend and I will be starting a Scooby-Doo podcast in 2020 titled Scooby-Doo Legend of the Podcast. We are hoping to have the first episode drop on January 1st. The trailer is actually out right now, so you can go listen to it. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. It's on Anchor. It's on Pocket Cast. It's on Beaker. You know, you can find it just about anywhere. So go listen to the trailer, and I hope you guys will tune in once we officially launch. So let me know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is the same sheriff? Do you think it's just all a coincidence? Do you think it doesn't connect whatsoever? I wanted to share this because it was just one of those random moments of, wait, are you who I think you are? So guys, thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, you can hit that like button. It's always appreciated. If you're new here, you can press that subscribe button down below. If you love Scooby-Doo, I do tons of Scooby-Doo content. If you love other content, I do a lot of other content as well. And that's gonna do it. So I will catch you in my next one. Goodbye!